on this episode of the Modern Matriarch Podcast. What I want to sink into really quickly here is the juicy stuff, the juicy thing of the second trimester that I think we all know, but we're kind of unprepared for it, is the first feeling, that very first feeling of feeling our baby in our belly, like actually feeling them flutter or move, or anything that's like this, baby's there. Like, I want to sink into that, what that experience was like for you.
I'll never forget. I think I was maybe 15 weeks, maybe 16 weeks. And I remember waking up and feeling a pop in my stomach, and it felt like popcorn. And it was so distinct, and I knew. I was like, that is a hiccup. That is something I've never felt before. That is not my organs. That is not my belly. Like, that's not, I don't have to poop. Like, that's not what's going on here. That was a separate entity in my body letting me know that he's around.
I'm Victoria, and you are listening to the Modern Matriarch Podcast, a show about living unapologetically as a woman. Here we discuss the quiet things out loud without fear or political correctness. You deserve to feel alive deep in your soul through living authentically and finding deep fulfillment as a woman. You are listening to the first season of the Modern Matriarch Podcast with our amazing return guest, Makenzie Chbeeb. This is part 2 of our last episode where we had a long and amazing conversation on the topic of pregnancy as a first-time mama. If you've not listened to the first one, be sure to go back just one episode, listen to that one first, and then come and catch up with us on this one right after. And now, on to part 2 of this episode. So now that we wrapped up the first trimester, which was a really long one, we're looking at over an hour and a half over here. Let's talk about the second trimester. And if you could use, or if you were told to just use one word about the second trimester, what would that be to describe it?
Energy. I would use that word.
Yes.
For me personally.
I love that.
Because I felt such a lack of it. I felt such a lack of it in first trimester that when I started feeling physical energy and like the energy to want to like output action again was so exciting for me. That was so exciting, especially as a very active, athletic human. I'm a professional dancer. My professional career is choreographing and dancing. So being able to move and to want to move again and have the energy to move was like, oh, I feel like myself. This is amazing. So I would sum up my second trimester to the word of energy. Having energy again was freaking cool. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I have something similar to you. It wasn't energy though, but yeah, definitely the energy was a very strong component of it is play.
Oh, I love that.
For me, it was play.
I love that.
Because I felt like a release of energy, right? The release of being able to feel good again. And I was a little later than you though, because I think at 14 you started feeling good. I was more around the 16 week mark I started feeling good. 16 for you too, or was it?
No, for you 16, I remember.
Or was it earlier?
I was like 13, 14.
You were a little earlier than me. But I felt like the energy back and permission to play. Like now I can have the permission to be happy about my pregnancy. Like I've made it through the tough times, right? Like it's not the safety, went up, that, okay, like now things are more likely to work out.
Yes.
I have permission to start loving her, like to start, I didn't know she was a girl at the time, but the permission to like, oh, I can sink into you. I can get to know you. I'm not that afraid anymore. I can do stuff. I started working out too again, because we're both really active also in a different way. We're always out hiking with our dogs, and we're tackling mountains, and it was very, very humbling. That's probably the word I would apply for the first trimester, is humbling. Right? Because like you can't control it the first trimester. So coming from that humbling experience to feeling so free and being playful and going out and hiking more and doing more things. And now I can actually, hey, look at, maybe birth classes. I can, do all those things and have fun. Like permission to have fun and to play was really big for me.
I love that so much.
And
the word play,
I feel like it bleeds
so
over
cool.
between both of us.
Yeah. Also,
And
just
I want to lean a little bit into that. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say, our life at that time, it's really weird the way that it kind of paralleled my trimesters. Like, first trimester, I actually had the space to be fatigued and to kind of like lean into the vulnerability and the humility then, or it bringing you kind of to your knees feeling of vulnerability. And then second trimester, our life circumstances started pivoting where like we were working again, and it did feel like play. Like we were in a new role as creative directors. We were taking on this new life that felt like, energetic and exciting. And I actually had the energy and the ability to assert myself into those roles in a way that was really satisfying during that time, which was really cool.
That's really special. And also, was it around that time too that you guys were really working on Fable and designing everything and working on all those aspects, or did that already come later?
That was happening.
You were still in the design, right?
That was happening. Oh, you know what? You're right. That was still happening first trimester. And second it was, and then towards the end of the second was when we officially opened the business. So we started.
Oh yeah, you guys are working on other projects too.
Yeah. So we started opening ourselves up again after like almost a year of just prioritizing the small business. We started getting industry work again here in LA as freelance artists, which has been our primary work for the last 15 years. And so diving into creativity again, I just love that you brought up the word play, because that's exactly how it felt. It was like, we can finally play again. We can create again. And that can be our sense of purpose and our form of stability that we haven't had in so long. So that was cool timing.
Yeah. Did you find yourself opening up to dance? Was that the first time you really danced again since being pregnant? Or did you manage to dance through the first trimester? It was the second trimester.
Yeah. First trimester we had, I had like one choreography job. And I remember still like dancing and being pretty involved in it from a creative and physical standpoint, but it wasn't as long.
I mean, more from you as a personal level.
No.
Like the want to move and play and the
no. It wasn't.
The first trimester was a no, right?
No. It wasn't there. It was there if work was calling for it, but not from a personal. My body did not.
Yeah,
want that.
I remember you actually told me that it's crazy that when Philip tried to lift you into one of the moves, you were like,
I think
I want to be on the ground.
Early on. And I love getting lifted. I love it when he's like flipping me. Like, it's literally one of my favorite things. I wanted to be grounded. I wanted to be grounded, and I did not want to be partnered. I wanted to dance by myself if I did dance in like a really soft, gentle way, and sitting down, which was really interesting. Like if I was freestyling or wanting to move to music, I just wanted to move sitting down. And that's actually kind of remained throughout the pregnancy a little bit, like this feeling of wanting to stay really grounded. Second trimester, you know what's cool is I actually felt more energy to like hold weight. So I really loved the gym. The gym and hiking was like, oh, that's where I want to move my body. So I let myself. It was very intuitive, and I just let myself enjoy having that energy and having the want to carry weight and to feel weight. Like I said, so much of my life has been athletic and being an athlete. So continuing that momentum felt so important to not only my physical health, but my mental health and regulation. And then there was so much choreography that we were doing in my second trimester that but I loved it. I loved choreographing and I loved dancing, and I was choreographing for an artist. So it was not the normal contemporary extreme dancing that I was doing. It was actually very fun, subtle, quirky, different kinds of movement that I would not normally do for myself or indulge in for myself. So from a physical standpoint, indulging in that type of movement during my second trimester was really fun. It's cool to think to like really try to dissect each one, because they feel they feel incredibly different. I had so much energy to move my body. I remember even like being so excited, like every morning I would come into rehearsals, because we were in like deep rehearsal mode majority of my second trimester, and we would come in every morning, and we know all of the dancers, really good friends with them. All of them know at this point that I'm pregnant, so it's like being celebrated, and it's very known.
Couldn't hide it anymore.
Can't hide it anymore. Yeah, I have my little bump growing, but I'm still really agile. I'm not where I am now, where I'm like waddling in and out.
Jelly.
Jelly, exactly, from head to toe. I'm still able to like activate my body. And I remember being so excited, like we would be doing push-ups in the morning with each other, and everyone would be like, oh my gosh, you're still doing push-ups. And I still do, like, I just had all of this energy and testosterone too. I felt this this testosterone pumping through my body that just felt like it didn't even exist in my first trimester. So I just really enjoyed the power, the physical power that was kind of surging through my body during that time. I felt really unstoppable. I felt like a superhero a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's definitely true to you, that energy was the thing for you in the second trimester, that if you felt that level of power going through you, and you can pick up things and do push-ups. I don't think I was doing push-ups. Yeah, I was not doing push-ups. Even though I really loved the gym too, I was definitely not in that space. Although I do remember going to the gym for a little bit, quite pregnant with JC, when we were in Bend. And that was really fun. And just to see people's faces when they see me walk around with my big belly and working out was funny.
I love it. That's why I keep going, even though now I'm just going to stretch and like do a couple hammer curls. It's really just to like see people like, why?
Like reactions.
What are you doing here?
Why?
Yeah. I love it. Like, it's my favorite.
Or doing these unapologetic deep squats at the gym.
Oh yeah, or like
these cat cows and
I was gonna say
booties in the air.
I was gonna say like my pelvic curls. I'm like on the birth ball, like moving my pelvis around. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm doing this while you're doing, your lap pulls. I don't care. Yeah.
It's so funny. I feel like it is also that stage, like the second trimester is a stage where you kind of peel away all the layers. You start becoming like this mama bear starts developing, and you just don't frankly give a shit about what anyone thinks anymore. It's weird. I felt that really profoundly happening in the second trimester, and I got a kick out of everything just to see people's reaction.
What's interesting is I don't think I felt that layer come off until my third. Like second trimester, I still felt kind of I still felt the word's not timid, but I like, you could still kind of push my boundaries a little bit, probably, and you could probably still get some things out of me, but now I can't be negotiated with. Like, where I am now. Like, you can't talk me into anything.
I love that.
Me too. I'm like, oh my God,
And
where
the
have you
crazy thing
been?
is, it's
I love boundaries are beautiful. Oh my God. I've never had them before.
aren't they? You know what the crazy thing is too is that it doesn't go away anymore. It only intensifies. It doesn't.
That's amazing to me. I love
That's
that.
it. There's
I
no
love
going
it.
back.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I don't want
There's
it.
like nothing I don't care about. Yeah. It's all about our family. It's
Yep.
who I love. It's Avani. It's our future babies. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So,
I love
yeah,
it.
that's definitely staying. But it's very interesting how it came later for you. Maybe it's because I naturally already have a lot of that, the boundaries from before even. And then the first trimester kind of just did this to everything. To the boundaries. It went down south. If anything,
No boundaries.
I lived. I think you and I talked about this. No boundaries and a lot of like, it was hard to process, I think, for both of us that we were suddenly becoming super dependent on our men for everything. And they did it happily. And they were powerhouses throughout the whole, first trimester and beyond. But
That's really disorienting.
just really
though.
humbling.
It's really
right? That first
disorienting.
trimester. It is.
And when you are, I mean, when you're your partner's literal partner in work, I mean, I'm still getting used to it now. Like we even had a conversation yesterday where I was like,
yes.
I am having trouble not providing for us in the way that I'm used to. He's like, you're providing. But I'm like, no. I mean,
you're literally providing.
Yeah. But I'm like, no. I mean, in the way financially that I used to,
Yeah.
like, I realize how uncomfortable I am with not being as active pursuing our financials the way that I was before. I guess I had a lot of purpose and self-worth tied into that because it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Well,
still till
it's
this
cultural.
day.
It's very cultural though, because in all reality, what you are doing right now in the last 8 months is the most intense, profound, incredible thing that we can ever do.
Yeah. And I'm like, how can I maximize our business?
Provide more.
How can I make more money for us? I'm like, what am I doing? Relax.
Philip must be like, chill.
No, he is. He's like, you literally, like, you've never
Yeah.
had a more clear path. Just focus on the baby. Just focus on getting yourself there and bringing baby forward. And that's all you got to do. You don't gotta worry about anything else. He's like, I'll figure it out. He's like, we can talk about, like, if you're naturally getting the instinct to want to create things and want to, like, provide ideas for, like, things to look forward to. He's like, hell yeah, do that. But he's like, you don't need to worry about just making money, like, from day to day. He's like, that's not where it is right now. He's like, you can go back to that if you want, but right now it's so much bigger than that. What you're doing is so much bigger than those little things. Let me take care of that.
I love that.
Which I appreciate so much.
Yeah, I love
huge.
that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yes. Yeah, it's huge. It's just a really big mind shift for us, and it's very humbling when we go through that
I'm
change of
failing at
coming
it.
from the modern maiden.
Yeah, I'm
No, you're not.
I am because I'm still in it. I'm still having the conversations. I haven't quite learned. I'm like, should I? I'm like, I can teach class next week, right? Like, I can figure out a way. We can do that. And then he's like, why? He's like, that would literally just be for you to say that you did it. But he's like, let's be more creative with how you want to. If you do want to provide, let's be more creative so that it can align more with where your pace is.
And
so
we can. Yeah, and we absolutely can. As we step into this stage of, going through leaving the maidenhood and going to becoming a mother and beyond. It's not like we're saying here, hey, go back to just doing absolutely nothing if you want to make an income or you have a passion. This is not the point.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that we first have to shed those layers, let go, sink deep into what we are designed to do and where we thrive. And then once we fulfill those needs, we can learn something new, because I learned that the entrepreneur that I was before becoming a mama is something not only will I never be, but I don't want to be that same entrepreneur, because my passions and everything was so focused on that that I don't even want to right now. My passion is my family and my babies right now.
Yeah.
That's all I care about the most, right? But it's different. It already is. I'm already working on projects. Heck, this podcast is,
I was going to say,
literally was born out of this, right? It's created out of this. This is a big project, but it's coming from a new place, and it's coming,
it's beautiful,
tied into what I want to create with the family. Like I was telling you, I don't want to force myself to crank out an episode every single week for the rest of this podcast existence. I want to have seasons so I can focus on the podcast, but then take time off with baby and family and, spend time with my husband, quality time. That's what's really important. And you're going to find yourself doing the same thing, even if you have difficulty right now doing so, because you still have those layers attached. Once little babe is in your arms, you're not even going to have to force yourself anymore. It's just, it's going to all go out the window.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to nothing else mattering.
To that release.
Yeah.
We'll get right back to the show. But first, I want to share something close to my heart. As a new mama, my passion lies in creating a life filled with family, fulfillment, and the freedom to pursue my dreams. More than ever, having diverse income streams is essential, especially as we navigate the beautiful journey of motherhood and family. Building a flexible business that aligns with my values has been a true blessing. It allows me to prioritize my family and put in as much as I can in my available time. I've seen firsthand how this business has transformed not just my life, but the lives of so many others who yearn for that same balance. If you're curious about how I'm designing a life that enables me to be fully present with my loved ones while generating income from home, I would love to hear from you. Follow the link in the show notes to reach out, and let's explore how we can create your version of freedom together. And now, back to the show. What I want to sink into really quickly here is the juicy stuff, the juicy thing of the second trimester that I think we all know, but we're kind of unprepared for it, is the first feeling, that very first feeling of feeling our baby in our belly, like actually feeling them flutter or move or anything that's like this, baby's there. Like I want to sink into that, what that experience was like for you.
I'll never forget. I think I was maybe 15 weeks, maybe 16 weeks. At the time, we were crashing at our friend's house, and we woke up in our friend's bed. We were house sitting, so he wasn't around. And I remember...
Thanks for the clarity.
Yeah, he's not there. He's not in bed with us. And I remember waking up and feeling a pop in my stomach, and it felt like popcorn. And it was so distinct, and I knew. I was like, that is a hiccup. That is something I've never felt before. That is not my organs. That is not my belly. Like, that's not, I don't have to poop. Like, that's not what's going on here. That was a separate entity in my body letting me know that he's around. And at this point, we knew that he was a he. So,
oh, you already knew that.
Yeah. So, and I remember it literally shocking me and being like, oh my gosh, like that just happened. But it's fascinating, and I've told you this, and I've been really like open with you about this, but I didn't feel a sense of connection to those movements until my third trimester, deep into my third trimester, where it started feeling more human and more connected to Philip's voice, to my voice, to things I could consider as, I understand where his reactions are coming from. In that second trimester, it all feels a little, for me, it felt really sporadic. It felt random. I couldn't attribute it to anything that I was doing, so it felt very alien and disconnected from me. But it didn't take away the excitement at all, or the awe, or the curiosity of like, how is this happening? Oh my gosh. And just the progression of feeling like, oh, this is a progression in pregnancy. Him moving. This means that he's okay, that I am doing okay. And up until then, you know, we touched on this, but like the amount of guilt that you're feeling, maybe just the lack of knowledge in general makes you feel overwhelmed with guilt. Or if you don't eat the right thing that day, or if you don't move enough that day, or you're not, you know, doing what your algorithm is saying and how to best prepare baby, or whatever it is that you're feeling guilty about. The feeling of him moving put my mind at ease that, hey, you're doing okay. Like, you are giving him what he needs. It's like checking in with you. Yeah. And that was so, it's just, I needed it. I needed that at that stage in the pregnancy, because again, it just doesn't feel real yet, you know? You're just like still trying to understand all that time. You know? So that first moment was beautiful. And I realized too after that, his little patterns, like I would have all day where I wouldn't really feel him very much throughout the day, and then at 7 p.m. whenever I sat down and started like wrapping up emails and doing certain things like that,
you too,
I would feel him start moving around 7 p.m. And again, it was just like popcorn, like little pops here and there and little jabs.
Was it hiccups consistently, or
it wasn't rhythmic, so I don't think it was hiccups, because I think hiccups can be more rhythmic. It was pretty sporadic and organic, and like its timing, but it felt like a pop. And it felt like little jabs.
He was already dancing. He was already dancing. And his two parents, he was already dancing.
Yeah, he was already in it. And now it's like really organic movement, where it feels like, oh, I feel his arm like gracing one side to the next. I feel a foot stretching out. Like, it's a lot less, again, it registers as human to me, where before it felt really alien. Like,
it felt more alien.
Yeah.
Did you to follow up on that, did you I'm trying to remember the timeline, but it's kind of blurring together at this point, but did you hear his heartbeat before you felt him?
No, we didn't hear his heartbeat until 22 weeks. So
oh wow,
it was, I think our first Doppler was around 20 or 22 weeks. And then I started feeling him move around 16. Awesome. So it was, again, there was still some uncertainty there, because we hadn't heard his heartbeat yet. So there was, you know, again, like these progressions that I was looking forward to give us some more certainty that he's okay and that he's healthy and everything's going according to plan. So the movement started first. And again, that gave me a lot of clarity. And then at 22 weeks, we heard him on the Doppler for the first time, and that was crazy.
What was that like?
I mean, immediate for me, it was like immediate tears. I didn't realize how scared I was that he wasn't okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much fear I actually had subconsciously about him not like being alive.
Where does that come from, if I may ask? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the reason why I'm asking that question is because I had miscarriages, right? So my fear came purely from the miscarriages.
Yeah.
So, you know, and obviously the fear mongering that I'm old and, you know, you can have an unhealthy baby because of that. But you are a lot younger than I am. You've never had miscarriages to my knowledge. So.
Never, yeah.
What brought that fear for you to think that he could possibly not be okay?
You know what? I think it's inevitable to feel that. I don't think you have to miscarry. I don't think you have to be high risk to feel high risk in pregnancy, because the vulnerability.
That's very interesting.
is the same to me.
So
The
this is kind of
uncertainty-
normal, you're saying.
I think so. I think it was. And also, I don't know anything about how to keep this child alive, really. My body's just doing it miraculously. And I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I'm trying to catch up through reading and my audiobooks and my friends that are experiencing it themselves. But I don't actually know if what I'm doing is right. And I want to believe it, but that's also where the faith is so important, that I think it's carrying you really throughout it. And until I got the evidence that, hey, he's here, he's with you. Like, this is real. This is happening.
Yeah, his heart's beating.
I didn't even realize how many layers of like
that you had so much
fear was still there, trying to protect me from the potential of something going wrong. And I think that's very natural in mamas to feel and to want to prepare themselves for, regardless of what they've been through in the past. I think that threat is always looming.
It's real.
Yeah. I think yeah.
So you heard his heartbeat and you're like, like
it sounded like a little egg shaker. My dad, growing up, he's a singer and musician, and he always had this little egg shaker in his pocket. And whenever my parents were in rehearsals, about to start, he would always bring out the shaker and he would kind of count them in through the shaker. And that's what it reminded me of, that sound of like chug, 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 chug. It's like a little chug, 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 chug. And it was the most beautiful, rhythmic, perfectly paced sound that I've ever heard. And then seeing Philip, and like looking at him and being like, there's a baby in my belly. There's your baby in my belly. We're doing this thing. This is real. There's like a being in here. That was the beginning of me really understanding, like, there's a baby in there. An actual human growing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was wild moment.
That is so profound. It's crazy too now, Avani already being here, and I hold her in different positions, and sometimes I hold her against my chest and my hands are touching her chest right by her heart. And I would hold her tightly, and sometimes I start feeling her heartbeat through her, because I'm holding her the same way. And it just knocks me right back to pregnancy and hearing the heartbeat and not feeling it.
Oh my God.
And it's like, it's crazy. It's such a emotional thing to go through, because you're like, oh my God, you're literally holding your child's heart in your hands, It's so powerful, but it's kind of like this continuum from the first time I heard her heartbeat through the rest of the pregnancy, and now her being here, where it's like, it's crazy. It's a feeling that it only grows stronger as this journey begins. That's like the starting point when you hear it the first time, and it's like, it's so massive, and then it just continues and continues. And
I love
your little heart growing outside your body.
Oh, I love that. No, I love that. That, I mean, you've talked about that concept before, where it feels like your heart is outside of you once you have your child.
It literally is like your heart is literally out of your body. It's incredible.
That's so deep. I love it. I love it so much.
I can't wait to listen to this podcast after baby boy is here, and just revisit this conversation and see how this all feels, after everything.
Oh, it's going to be
after the new beginning, I should say.
It's going to be so cool to be able to reflect on what I thought I knew and what I didn't know that will be answered like so soon. Like everything that I don't know now.
Yeah, so soon.
In a month or so's time,
so soon,
is answered just like that. He's starting to like kick right now.
Yeah,
he's kicking.
And it's really powerful. He is.
Yeah.
It's about that time. It's 6:30. It's so cool how they have this rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah, he's right on time.
That's so beautiful. So, shall we step into the third trimester?
Yeah, let's do it.
Where you're at right now?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the third trimester.
Yeah.
Let's do the same thing we did with the second. But I want to apply a little twist here because, and this is something you're not there yet, but I think based on my experience, and I wonder if it's going to be the same with you, that the last month of pregnancy is not at all like the third trimester. I felt like it needed its own trimester. It's not a trimester, obviously, but I feel like it needed its own animal to describe it. But those 2 months, have they felt very similar? The 2 months you're almost completing in your third trimester, have they felt really similar? And what is the word that you can describe?
Ooh, this one's a little harder.
That third trimester, those 2 months.
Okay.
It's harder. Give me the juiciest one.
Well, you know what's interesting is it feels like it's really easy for me to consolidate first and second, but third, it feels like so much is happening. Like I feel like I'm changing so rapidly, even from just like a physical expansion standpoint. From like now, it's no longer like a couple of weeks and then I feel a little different. It's like week from week, almost from day to day, I feel significantly larger. From a physical standpoint, but also even from like a spiritual standpoint, I feel again like more of my boundaries taking up space, more knowing kind of flooding in, all of the answers that I've been a little bit that have been unanswered are starting to kind of fill in naturally through intuition every day. So it's hard to like just choose one word
To put that into.
because it feels like, oh my God, there's just it feels so much. I want to say the third trimester, if I could sum up these 2 months, one word, I think I would just say intuition. I think that's like a nice umbrella term for what I keep coming back to every day, is like, what is my intuition telling me? Fuck all of the unsolicited advice that everybody is offering me at this point and that is expecting and assuming me to believe in or believe. Fuck the apps. Like, I don't care about what you think I'm going through. I know what I'm going through, and that's where I'm gonna live from. So I feel like intuition kind of sums up the theme of third trimester for me so far.
The last two.
Yeah.
That is really, really, really beautiful. And that makes so much sense because you are literally starting to prepare your nest where you're going to give birth.
Oh, yeah.
And you need that more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it is so important. And it's actually so interesting to feel the need to do that now, because I think I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that to kick in, waiting for the need and for the knowing
naturally
to answer what I wanted to do from a birthing standpoint. Like, I knew that I wanted midwives. I knew that I wanted to do an at-home birth. But that was all like just ideas. Those are just like kind of ideas of what I wanted, but I didn't actually know exactly who I want to be there. I didn't know how I wanted to actually prepare that in a very like logistical and realistic way, in the way that I do now. That feels very like, this is what I want. This is how I want to plan it. This is what I need. This is what I need in order to feel safe, protected, and comfortable as I enter this phase. And that feels like it's just come at the right time, which is really cool.
Yeah. It's like these things are happening naturally, intuitively, like they're supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of forcing it, right? You're not forcing to feel that way. Kind of like what we were talking about. It's like a lot of mamas, and that was me included, I think that comes out of the fear that you were talking about. We are also afraid, like, how do I get ready to love this baby? You know, it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
How will I love this baby once it's here?
Yeah. Do I have the ability?
Am I able to even do that?
To
like,
love. Oh, yeah.
Do I have to do something to be able to love this deep?
Yeah.
And now looking back, right? Like now how deeply you feel like you want to nest, and you're definitely Mama Bear, take no shit from anyone at this point. Like all these things are just coming so naturally. You don't have to prepare for that. It's all built into us. And as long as we listen to our intuition and we don't quiet our intuition, then it all makes a lot of sense. Right?
I think that's the most harmful thing you can do to a pregnant woman, is to suppress her ability to express and access her intuition. Whether that's you bombarding her with your own ideas of what
100%.
you think she should do, not giving her the space to think for herself on what she wants, not giving her the space to explore every option that she can have when it comes to a birthing plan, to the way that she wants to experience literally making a person and bringing them into the world. Like, it doesn't matter what you've done. It's irrelevant to her. And that's it.
Absolutely.
Let her lean in and let her come to you, because there will be the chance to ask questions and to need that advice and to need some reassurance. But at this point in my pregnancy, I am begging everyone in my family to let me be, and to let me be a mom already now, and like, let me practice. Let me have some autonomy over my experience, and let me trust myself. Let me trust my husband. Let me just let us do this in the way that we know.
Go through this rite of passage.
Yeah, and let us learn. Let us make mistakes, and that's just all I am wishing for and praying for every day, is the freedom to express and execute what I want for my birth and for the labor experience. I just want the freedom to express it and to execute it in the way that makes me feel safe and protected.
100%.
And that's my only goal.
The right word, the feeling safe.
Yeah, that's my only goal.
Feeling safe. It's not necessarily like in the safety of like, oh my God, a tiger is going to come eat you. It's more of the safety almost within ourselves, that we want to feel like we're not questioning our power, that we're not questioning the things that we know intuitively that we can achieve. Because the moment somebody puts in the questioning,
you're fucked.
It's such a vulnerable time in our life that you are literally fucked, because you start thinking of all the possibilities that things can go wrong.
Well, also,
and that's not a place that you can be in labor.
Your brain is already doing that. My brain is already thinking about everything that can go wrong. I am going to be the most critical and worried than anyone in the room. I do not need your fear. I do not need your worry. I don't need that.
No, I need your empowerment.
And I need your support. And that's it in that moment. And I will feel it all for you, and know that I am applying all of that into my choices. I'm applying all of the fear. Yes, I'm doubting everything, and I'm worried, but I'm applying all of that into my choices, and I'm not doing it from this naive, ignorant place. I'm really just, again, trying to do it from as much intuition, so that in that moment I feel like I'm able to access myself. All I have is myself in that moment. I can't.
Absolutely.
I have no one else that I can look at and be like, Can I, Philip, can I tag you in? Can you take the rest of this for me? There's nobody.
Can you take over?
Can you take over?
Yeah.
I have to rely on myself, and if I'm not able to have the space to practice that beforehand, accessing that in the moment is going to be so difficult. And so I feel like third trimester, all that I'm trying to exercise and practice and ask for in my life is the space to do what I need in order to prepare for for him coming here. And that's all. That's it.
And
that's
do you feel like you're able to do that?
It's been difficult. It has been difficult because I love making people happy, and I love my family, and I love Philip's family, and they love this baby already so much, and they want to be involved, and I want them to be involved. But I think for this particular, like, very specific moment in time where I'm giving birth, like specifically
for the first time in your life.
For the first time in my life, there is this feeling that I did not expect that wants complete isolation and privacy, and nobody there other than my husband and my birthing team.
Yeah,
I did not expect.
No, it's 100%.
I did not
expect
to feel that way. I thought it was going to be very different. And my intuition, I literally feel it. Like, and I tell Philip every day, he's so aware, and he's the one instilling the boundaries and helping me facilitate this with our families. And also tell them how it's not personal. Like, this is not personal. We love you guys. We want you in our life. It's not that we're trying to push you away. It's that this is our way.
But we're about to climb Mount Everest together.
It's the first time he's let us do it. He's helping us with those boundaries, but it's like I feel this woman inside of me saying, there's literally, like, if you do not speak up for yourself and tell everybody what you need exactly, you're not going to be able to do this. And it's like so clear. Like, she keeps coming up and being like, impossible.
You are so right.
You have to say something now. Like,
you are right.
Ask for it now. This is the time. This is the time to advocate for yourself.
Tell it. Don't even ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't even ask. Yeah. You have to tell.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny is I'm you know, it's telling Philip, you know, it has changed from like asking to telling. I love that you said that. It isn't asking. It's me being like, this is what I need.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. And this is, and again, this is not to disrespect our families in any kind of way. There's so much love and involvement and everything that's going to transpire with this whole experience. But there's also something incredibly primal in this very... We'll get right back to the show. But first, I want to share something close to my heart. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed by a million supplements with no results? Or are you struggling with unexplained infertility? Or maybe you've been told that IVF or IUI is your only option, leaving you feeling lost and hopeless? If so, you're not alone. I provide personal one-on-one coaching for women ready to take their health into their own hands. Whether you're facing fertility challenges or simply want to feel your healthiest and your best, I am here for you. I'm not a doctor or dietitian, and I don't plan on going that route. Instead, I am passionate about helping women clean up their health and mindset while unlocking the secrets to true wellness through ancient nutrition and ancestral wisdom. I want to share all the knowledge and wisdom I've gathered over many years and the very special steps I took in the last 3 years to finally become a mama just before my 43rd birthday. Together, we'll navigate our modern world with confidence, even when the cards of fertility and true health seem stacked against us. I've been where you are, feeling isolated and overwhelmed. That's why I'm honored and excited to support you on this special journey. With me, you will feel seen and safe to be yourself. Whether you need to cry it out, seek guidance, or simply want to thrive in your health. If you're ready to take that step toward empowerment and healing, schedule a coaching session with me no matter where you live. Follow the link in the show notes to connect with me, and let's create a brighter and healthier future together. And now, back to the show. It is you can't even describe it, this moment in your life, because it's your first time, that really needs to be respected.
Yeah.
And you have to feel peace with it.
Yeah.
And that those are some lessons, some things that I learned from my own experience being the first time. And I know it's never going to be the same again, because the second time I'm already going to be experienced.
Yeah, you already know.
But the first time, I can tell you that,
know.
Yeah. The first time, it's so important to be able to put those boundaries, know confidently that those boundaries are there, and Philip holding it down for you.
Yeah.
And also disassociating, not disassociating, but really work on your mind to not feel any associated guilt with it. It has to be from a place where you feel really good about the decisions that you are making, that you intuitively know is right.
The guilt is starting to leave
if
now,
you are,
I have to say. And I love that you brought that up, because I have felt so much guilt up until now, like insane amounts of guilt for wanting to instill boundaries that may offend or seem like I'm trying to keep our family away, or I don't know, not have them a part of it in the way that they dreamed of. I have had so much guilt from that, but honestly, last couple of weeks, it's slowly
not there anymore.
No, it's leaving my body, because at the end of the day, I'm realizing I'm asking for what I need to give them what they really want, which is a healthy grandchild.
Exactly.
I want to
Nailed
bring
it
in,
right there.
I literally want to bring into this world.
And you're the only one that can do that.
I'm the only one. I am the only one. So I am going to get exactly what I want and how I need to do that for our family. I am the bridge.
That's what I told my mother.
It's amazing.
You can literally tell your family, like your mama that's so close to, if that's what you need to. I told my mother, I was like, in all honesty, if I asked her that question, if you would hear me, because I didn't know how it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I asked her, I was like, if you would hear me moan and scream or even cry through contractions, if that were to be the case, how would you feel about it? I asked her that. She's like, honestly, I would cry, I would panic, I would be terrified, I would feel bad. And I was like, see, that's the thing. You don't need that. I don't need that. Baby doesn't need that. My husband doesn't need it. Nobody needs that.
It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
Because what would happen if she feels that way? Then I have to step out from my primal state to address her fears.
Yeah.
What is that going to do?
Yeah. That's going to keep baby from progressing.
Yes,
and
exactly. Because our mental, everyone wants to focus on the physical, and I think it's so important to understand the physical. And this is why you and I took the same classes, the Bradley method, because I really want to understand, what my body is doing. But when it comes down to the moment, your primal, your emotions, your clarity, your confidence is really all that matters, besides being very well rested and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
It really is that. So if you have to step out of that to help and appease anyone else, your sphincters, right? Your sphincters close. It's like you can't poop in public, or you can't poop if somebody is stressed out next to you. Like, you need to relax.
Yeah. That's literally that's the method that we've been learning with the Bradley method. That's literally all it comes down to. They're like, okay, we can learn about all of the technicalities and the anatomy of what's going on, and you can understand all of that. But at the end of the day, if you cannot relax, this is not, it's going to be your so mental game hard is like to fulfill this. And your body's going to do it, but to do it in the way that you dream of. To access some sense of presence, and maybe a little bit of peace, and even a little bit of enjoyment, rather than just this idea of pain and tension.
No, what
and
about
fear.
Tons of enjoyment? Yeah. No, what about everything can be absolutely amazing, right?
Yeah.
If you address those things, and if you are you've set those boundaries, you feel peace with the boundaries, you're very clear. Like I explained that to my mother, and she understood. I was very clear that
That's
I'm
awesome.
not telling her when I'm going into labor.
Yeah.
You know, and she understood. And by the time Avani was born, she was first to know.
Yeah.
She was first to know. I told her that she's going to be first to know.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's beautiful.
they're all going to be right there with us.
Yep.
But for us to go through that portal, like, I'll never forget when you told me that I went to the canyon. Like, I bawled my eyes out. I listened to that message like numerous times after Avani was born. But you're like, you went to the canyon, right? And look what you came back with. It's like, it really is that. Like a massive Grand Canyon. And it's not like in a fear way. It's just more in a really profound, intense, primal, incredible way that you need everything else to be in order for you to have peace, so you can zone into that, knowing mother is not worried, father is not worried, my sister is not going crazy. I don't have
expectations.
Everyone texting my husband, what's going on, right?
Pulling
So it's
him
like
away
all these
from
expectations. Now, you need that like complete, not just isolation like you talked about, but you also need anyone that's in your space, anybody that's in your space, to be amping up the confidence in yourself, not questioning you, not going, are you sure you want to deal with this?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
are you sure you want to do this?
No.
Like,
and
you
the thing is,
you want, like, you can do this.
Yes, and you will. And I know that Philip, he is that for me. He knows me better than anybody in the world.
Philip is going to be a fucking rock star.
He knows, and it's to have anyone else's like sense of fear or doubt, I would be so sensitive to it, and I would give in. Probably I would give in and be like, well, maybe I can't do this.
It's not because something is wrong with you. It's because your state of mind.
Maybe I should go to the hospital. Like, all of that would creep in, instead of just knowing my body is made for this. I have prepared for this for 9 months. I have educated myself to the point of no return, to the best of my ability. I got this. I have an incredible team that has let me know that I am low risk and in a healthy, perfect scenario to bring this child to earth in the way that I'm wanting right now.
Yes.
I am entirely capable. I only need those people there with me. That's all I need.
Absolutely.
And that's all
like,
we're gonna
emphasize it. Like, even with your midwives, you know, I even communicated with my midwife, with my birth team, of how I want to be talked to, you know, during labor. Like, if there's certain words that empower you, you know,
love that.
Tell them. If there's certain words that you don't like in advance and like you don't want to be told a certain thing, tell them. If there's a particular word that puts you off, even when you're in labor, like, communicate that. You know,
I love
this
that
way,
so much.
because not everybody knows you deeply. Just be really open with what makes you feel comfortable, and don't let the tiniest discomfort or appeasing of how other people feel stop you in this process. Right? You are the queen. You are the woman that's going through this rite of passage, that's bringing her baby earthside, her very first time, in this unknown, and learning something so amazing. You are the queen of that day. You are the person that everyone needs to listen to. And I know you're going to have that. It's just about doing the prep work for it.
I'm just going to force you to create an entire audio meditation of you just amping me up. I'm going to listen to.
You don't even have to do that.
I know, I'm going to just call you.
You don't have to force me. You can call me.
But for
record.
everybody else that's listening, I feel like they would really appreciate a Victoria labor meditation that they could follow through all the stages of labor, with you guiding them and amping them up and telling them, like, fuck, I got this shit, let's go. Because I feel like you are so sweet. What to say.
Well, I've just been through it, and also it really helps that, you know, the relationship that you and I have and what we've built together, and we know each other, and we answer each other's sentences and questions by now. It's crazy. So I feel like I really understand you.
Yeah.
But you already know that. You already know that I would be there for you in a heartbeat, like whatever you need. So let's wrap up the 2 months of the third trimester, because I don't think you can talk about that last month yet.
Yeah, I'm not
But
there yet.
I really love what you touched on. Not yet. We need to give that a name. That it's not fourth trimester. It's because the fourth trimester is after baby's born.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that last month is a whole new animal. And I think a lot of it is also that the third trimester just intensifies a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But it becomes a new space as you get closer and closer to your birth then.
Mm-hmm.
But to wrap up those 2 months that you've already experienced, and the intuition and how you're leaning into that, and what you're feeling, you know, as you go through this stage, and feeling like you want to kind of isolate, and you want to be with your husband, and you want to have your birth team, and everything that you're doing, and confidently walking in that line. What would you say to other mamas they can do to achieve that? Do you feel like it's something that's going to come natural like it did for you and me? Or did you have to do anything to work on to achieve the space that you're in? Or is it all just very intuitively driven that comes from within you?
Such a good question. Oh my gosh. I think there was so much negotiation to get me to where I am now with Philip. And with myself as well. A lot of deep reflection and negotiation, again, of going back and forth between, are you just trying to keep people away from you because that's what you really want, or like trying to find the nuance of why it is I need what I need, and finding the balance between how can I preserve our intimacy during this time and our privacy and what I need, while still finding ways to invite our family into the process and into the experience, so that they don't feel isolated or offended by not being involved in the way that they planned. So that has taken a lot of deliberation. It has not been intuitive at all. It's been
that
aspect of it. What I need feels very intuitive, and it feels not necessarily like it's coming in late, but I know for our family, for instance, they're preparing so far ahead of time for this that they're like, all right, what's the plan? And they're asking me in second trimester. Yeah, they're asking me, you know, in second trimester. And I'm like, that's all irrelevant. I don't know what I'm going to need then. So I think being able to let yourself take your time. Like 9 months is such a beautiful amount of time to unravel and process and sit with each trimester comfortably and be like, I don't need to know my birth plan in my first trimester. I'm just going to worry about day to day what I'm putting in my mouth and how I'm getting food into my belly. And then second trimester, like, oh my God, I'm going to have energy. I'm going to enjoy the confidence of knowing that this little babe is okay. And I'm going to enjoy moving my body, and I'm going to enjoy, you know, inserting myself back into life that makes me feel, you know, alive and connected to community. And then, you know, third trimester is the most beautiful opportunity to then take in all of those things that you've learned in the last, you know, 7 months, 6 months, and be able to sit, deeply reflect and assess and be like, okay, now how do I want to bring this baby earthside? How do I feel comfortable doing this? What do I need? What can I start preparing for now that I have been able to try all of these different things and live in these different themes throughout my pregnancy, rather than overthinking it from the beginning, and thinking like I needed to dedicate and commit to that in the beginning.
Drop the guilt in the process too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The shame, the guilt, and the need to do it and compare it to other people's way of doing things. Yeah. If you're not wanting to freaking work out in your second trimester and you hear the word energy when I say it and you're like, what? That is not how I felt. What you feel is the most valid. And that is true in this I wouldn't actually like say that as a whole truth, like across the, you know, across the spectrum of things. But like when it comes to pregnancy, trust mama, let your mama heart
Absolutely.
express itself and be curious and explore its intuitions and the things that are being brought up, and allow yourself to just play with these different aspects of yourself that are asking for attention. And by the time that you are like where I am now, I really do feel like, oh man, if I just like indulged in my intuitions even more, this would have been so much more fun. And it was also and it was already a pretty good pregnancy, but like my second pregnancy, I can't wait to just be like, oh, I'm sitting in this, I'm gonna do exactly my way. I know how to take care of myself. I can trust my instincts.
Yeah.
I don't need to scroll on Instagram for hours and take in
Shut
all
the
this
thing
passive
off.
take in all these passive ideas about how to become a good parent and a good mama and a proper mom. Like, you know exactly what you need. Sit with yourself and give yourself the chance to think and assess and try things on your own. You deserve it, and you have all the answers. All of your answers are the correct one
it's
for
within
your baby.
you. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this could not, mic drop right here. This could not have been a more beautiful, profound, and stunning, meaningful, purposeful ending to this amazing, 2.5 hour podcast that we just did on this. I think that is the best takeaway that I'm actually learning from, that I want to take into my next pregnancy also. So thank you for sharing that wisdom and that mama intuition. I feel like because you are so in it right now, you have so much clarity and your intuition is really there. And because you're listening to it, I feel like it's really coming across in a way that so many mamas can benefit from. So I really appreciate your wisdom in this, Makenzie. I am so grateful to have had you here.
Every
I love
time,
you
all the time.
Like, so close to your birth.
Thank you again.
Thank you for being
I thank
here.
you every time, but these conversations are so precious, and they're the only ones that I really have, because life has been so crazy and we're so busy, and we're trying to navigate all of the big things in preparation for this being. So to be able to take a second to just think and make meaning from everything is so important to me. So thank you for giving me that space to practice all of that. I appreciate you so much.
Do you want to take this show on the go with you? Whether you're relaxing at home or you're on the go, you can take the Modern Matriarch podcast wherever you are. Find us on all major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else. Just search for Modern Matriarch and join us anytime and anywhere. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Modern Matriarch podcast. Since you made it all the way to the end, I'd love to invite you to visit themodernmatriarch.co. This is where we're creating helpful and inspiring resources to help you along this incredible journey. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe to this podcast and leave us a like and a comment below this episode. Your support helps us reach more incredible women, brings more amazing guests to the show, and also helps us deliver fresh and inspiring content to you. We'll see you next time on the Modern Matriarch podcast.